Good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother Ashe is Jay. Is off tonight. We'll return next week. But tonight we got with us our regular special guest, Brother BlakSmith, who will be joining us in a few minutes. Brother Tad, how you feeling? Looking good, like the hat.
Oh, thank you. I'm feeling good. Life is good, unless the judge give it to you. But other than that, I'm just taking it light, breathing easy, I'm on vacation again, so trying to find the next destination. Yeah, that's what's going on.
That's what's up. I gotta get me a little getaway soon. Hopefully, maybe the end of next month, I'll do a little getaway because I've just been so busy. It's just so many things happening, and then with classes, and it's just a lot going on, a lot. So, I need to get a break in edgewise. I literally have been on the computer every day for the past week and a half to like 1 in the morning. All day to 1 in the morning. I have so many different things going on. But, we missed y'all last week. Glad to be back in the saddle. Glad to be back with all of you. Shout out to Sister Joyce and Brother Monty. Sister Joyce, continue to heal, get better, because always, your health is everything. And we need you. I need you in the best of health. They always on a check-in. Shout out to Brother Leonard, you and the family. Shout out to y'all. Always. Sister Farnessa, did you see that drop in meta stock? Sister Farnessa, please tell me, did you see that jump? My heart is hurting right now. Shout out to Dr. Iya Ajawa, always on the check-in. Kudos to her. Got some. All right, there we go. We fixed that. Always kudos to you, sis. Keep doing what you're doing. I see you. All right, Mr. Johnson. Peace and free doggy dollars. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Facts on that. For real. Sister Marie, shout out to you. Glad to see you here on a check-in with us. What she said, y'all wearing my favorite hat. Thank you. I put the New York in tonight. So I had to do that. Yes. Yes, I did. And they've been losing a lot of members on Facebook. Of course, because it's about to take a dive. Things is going on behind the scenes. I got to do a show specifically for that. I got to reach out to one of the homies to do this show, because this metaverse thing, I don't know. Somebody threw a fork in the wrench.
But you know what it is? Since it's time for people to buy the dip, folks got to buy the dip. That's all that is. It's now affordable for people to load up and re-up, because they let you see what the potential could be. So you take a little dip, you snatch that up, because when it jumps, that's the direction. It's the new wave right now. Remember, this whole pandemic thing is all about a financial reset. And the writing is on the wall. They letting you know. For those who haven't seen it, I think we talked about this before, Sister Keisha. You need to go watch Player One. That's where we headed. It's a movie called Ready Player One. Check that out, and then you'll get a gist of what's going on in society right now and the direction they're moving everybody to.
I gotta check that out. Ready Player One, you said?
Yes, it is. Ready Player One. It's pretty much the metaverse, where where people in the real world don't really function in the real world. They throw on they virtual reality glasses, go into an avatar and they live their life through the game. Because that's all it is one big game.
Facts. And right now, everything and everybody is so detached from reality, if you will. And this is unfortunate, where a lot of things may go. There's some people who are throwing some monkey riches in the thing, but we'll see. I'm getting an echo. I don't know why. Let me see. Hold on. You know what? I think I'm gonna have to try this. Hold on. Give me a second, family. All right, there we go.
It
So
is on Netflix. I believe Ready Player One is on Netflix. And Sister Vera, what the metaverse is, it's a new virtual reality. It's a new form of social media. They got everybody addicted to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is. No matter what your age limit is, there's some social media platform that you're functioning on. And what the metaverse is doing is combining it all together, where everybody will be pretty much operating in the virtual world. They're even selling digital real estate. So I mean, that's something that we really need to get into real quick. I know everybody hate Kanye except me. Um, I think I've always publicly supported some of the things and ideas that Kanye has. And one of the things he said is we should ban Black history and start dealing with a Black future, which is something I've always said. That's why I named my company Better Days Ahead, because we always need to look towards the future. And that's what the metaverse and all of this stuff is moving into the future. And unfortunately, as a group, we're seldom the ones to talk about future. We often talk about the past and what has passed, and we really don't have a concrete plan to move forward into tomorrow. And that's why I think I like the concept of a Black Future Month, to where we really start formulating ideas and plans on how we can compete on this planet, because they're really trying to bump us out. As Sister Keisha just said, this metaverse is a virtual reality. That's all it is. Many of our people don't live in reality as it is. So I mean, they could be revolutionaries on Facebook and Instagram. You see them in the streets, you don't see none of that. You don't see no community work. You don't see them organizing with anybody to get things done. Just pretty much rabble rousers online. So once you get in this virtual reality, shoot, the laziest person could be Malcolm X in this virtual world. And we need to deal with in reality. I think our folks is in a fantasy world enough as it is. So as we move forward, we might as well monetize and capitalize on the direction that this place is going, instead of looking behind us. I mean, the Sankofa bird is look back while you're moving forward. And the only reason you're looking back is to see where you're coming from, so you know where you're going. That's the only reason, not look back and stay stuck. Like the Bible talked about, who was it? Sarah told her, don't turn around. She turned around, turned to a pillar of salt, if I'm not mistaken. Because sometimes we get stuck in the past too often. What we do here is we like to take the lessons from the past. When we talk about history, we like to take the lessons from the past to identify that this is a trick we've already saw before. Not just to talk about the past, but help identify the direction that all of these events are going in. But I'm step off my soapbox. We just got started. I know you got more announcements, Sister Keisha.
no, I'm rocking with it. I'm rocking with it for real. As you said, we use our history to look back to move forward. It's just like you know, well, let me go back for a second because you talk. Oh, I'm gonna have to put the mute on Tad until I'm done speaking, and then I'll unmute it, Tad. 'Cause I think I'm hearing the echo. I don't know if you hear it. Um, so anyway, brother Tad, what he's saying is right and exact, but things can become quite dangerous as we learn in this world if you don't understand truly what your history is. We again will be a nomadic lost people in any universe, and I think um sometimes the message gets lost with the messenger. Me myself, I take a lot of stock in who's giving the message. And right now, he has no stock with me, because chasing, understanding who we are and what we have to do and where we have to go, um, to continuously chase our open enemy and desire to be wanted and loved in that space is conflicting, and it's also misleading, if you will. So oftentimes those who are given the messages, um, we have to be a little bit careful of not the message, but those who are giving the message. Like your Michael Eric Dyson's and your Al Sharptons, Kanye is no different. Um, Sometimes people have their own agendas, and they don't care who gets hurt by it. But when you're fighting something that's real, when you're fighting something, as you say, for the future, for Black folks, side by side, yearning and desiring those who have made conditions that will hinder us from getting what we want truly, is something to be looked at. And I'm just not rocking with it. But I do understand what he says in us being futuristic. There is a young woman, I can't remember her name. She just got the patent for Black hairstyles in some of these video games that you were seeing. I can't remember, it just escaped me because I just found out about it. Very young woman, Black woman. She just got tired of, she's a gamer and got tired of seeing the hairstyles on Black characters. And so she started her own thing and will have, um, I guess, a patent on certain hairstyles. But even that in itself, um, should be discussed, because who are we to patent our culture to other folks? Other people don't patent their culture off to other folks, and we tend to do that often. What will Kanye's children fight for, if they will, for anything? And if so, being Black people living in this country and around the world, as Kamal Cambone said, until we deal with this enemy as we should, we're going to always be running, dodging, hating, and trying to play catch up. And I find that to be problematic. And I think we have to understand how we take control of technology in the future, not to play amongst in it, not to work within it, but to take control of it, um, and use it for our own purposes. Not That's not to say that we won't engage in other things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying anything that we do, we have to have total control of it, because we have compromised Black culture here in this country for far too long, and everybody is milking it. Everyone around the globe is feeding like vultures off of our culture. And at one point, when do we say enough is enough? When do we say stop? When do we get the power that Miss Godwin had over Whoopi Goldberg? But I won't go into that right now. But I'm just saying, one phone call and it was a wrap. You know what I mean? So, you know, again, understand the message that he put out, but always be leery of the messenger, because you don't know their intentions. And based on what I'm seeing, his intentions don't sit right with me. So that's just my perspective. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Well, that's my point. You know what I'm saying? Not so much of the messenger, but the message. Because too often what I see is us chasing our tails. You know, as you know, as the years go by, as new elders come and the old elders transition, it's like we still stuck in the same square. And clearly there's something that we're not doing. I mean, when we look at the chessboard, Like we're still trying to play on the old board, and it's like ain't nobody playing that game no more but us, because we're still ostracizing one another on a grand level, which rightfully so for all the points that you laid out. You know, like the Kanyes and the Sharptons and the Michael Eric Dysons, those who don't have our best interests. However, that's why I make these points from our position, from an African-centered position, from a Black first position. And that's what I want to plant in our folks' mind, because we do have to change our mindset, because we're still using tactics that's antiquated for new problems. You know, as the world is changing, I mean, superficially, things are changed. Fundamentally, it's the same. And that's our genocide. But unfortunately, so many of us don't recognize it as genocide, you know, because they'll put a Black face on it. So my point is, let's look to the future. Let's have plans, because that's all the future is. A future is a roadmap. A plan is a roadmap for the future. But what are our plans as a community? You know, granted, we want our reparations and we have to organize around that, but then we also have to organize around our people's basic needs. And particularly just giving them basic education and information. Like I said, we use our story / history lessons to tie it into what's going on right now and what the future looks like. But what I'm noticing, sis, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I hear a lot of our people talk, when I go to lectures and I see what people are talking about, they're talking about the past, but no concrete plans for the future. Most organizations, and I'll always say this, most Black / African-centered organizations do not have no components for young people. How are we really trying to work for our future and we're really not even catering to our young people? That's a big problem. What kind of future we're going to have if we don't have no component of self-defense? The two basic things we need to see tomorrow. So that's why my position is always, let's look to the future. That's why I call my company Better Days Ahead, because many of us, like Stevie Wonder said, is living in a pastime paradise. We're talking about what we did in Kemet, building pyramids, but we can't house our homeless people. That's a problem right there. We're talking about when the Nile Valley had black soot and it was you know, and all kind of crops flourished and things like that, but yet we can't feed our own babies. It's a problem. It's a problem. We still dependent on other people for our basic needs. So when I talk about the future, I'm talking about what are we fighting for if we're not trying to see tomorrow? If we're not trying to have our grandchildren have a better tomorrow, what are we really fighting for? You know what I mean? I'm like Malcolm. I'm for the truth. I don't care who tells it. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, our folks like to talk. It becomes rhetoric and jargon as opposed to real concrete solutions and situations. You know, so hopefully when people tune into us, Thorough Black Talk, that's what they get from here. They get real concrete conversations, not the fluff of vote this one, vote that one, and we got to forgive and forget. Nah, this is not that. You know, we have to hold the hard line without the rhetoric. And that's why when we have events, when the world opened back up again properly, where we can, you know, gather, because this is all part of that, you know, this whole pandemic, keeping people separated and separate. Because while they're on one side of the chessboard, setting up their play, they're keeping us distracted. And it's unfortunate that many of us don't see it as such. You know, so while they're making plans, we're just sitting here waiting for them to tell us what to do, as opposed to being active in our own lives on a daily basis as well as on a communal level. We have to be active and moving forward for our children and our grandchildren and our great grandchildren. It's our job, nobody else's. So when we talk about the metaverse, you know, we may not engage in it, though we will. But if we decided not to, what's to stop our children and grandchildren from engaging, making that false reality their reality? Because it's crazy that our people have already been living in a false paradigm of a Eurocentric mindset without social media. You know, so this enemy is rearing up for a bigger battle, and we just got to be equipped to properly deal with it. And that's all I want to say.
That's what's up, brother Taz. Shout out to Shantice. Love you, Aunt Gwen, if you checking in. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love y'all. You already know what it is.
Shout out to our brother Bomani.
Yes, Bomani Mayasa. Yes, yes.
Asafo.
For real. Because that's one of the things that bothered me with organizations that I have been a part of. The Youth Future. I remember, and I won't name any names, but an organization that I belonged to, this was in the when I first got down in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. And I tried to make them see where social media was going. But brother, I got so much pushback and hate. It didn't make any sense. I mean, people was talking to me about government conspiracies, all kind of stuff. I'm like, are you crazy? I'm like, the government know everything you do any goddamn way. Are you who you fooling? Like, are you crazy? Everything is going electronic. Even a sister I work with, and this was many years ago, and this is when paying bills online first started, right? And so I was telling her, I pay my bills online or whatever. And she said, "Oh no, I would never do that." But now it's her norm. You see what I'm saying? But when I told you, you ain't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Now white folks forced you to do it. Now you down with it. So, it's crazy to me. But as you said, where are we going in the future? And I think all of our great historians, at least from my perspective, and tonight we're only giving you guys our perspectives, but based on the history that we have been taught, and continue to learn. History is everlasting, it is forever changing. New developments are forever coming up. So perspectives, often change. But from our perspective and the historians that we learn from, history was or is a blueprint to help you propel to greater heights in the future. You understand? Carter G. Woodson didn't start Negro History Week just just to have it. No, he realized from his own life experience that it was needed so that people coming after him, black folks coming after him, wouldn't fall into the same traps. But has it worked? Because when you look at the average college student or graduate, they will tell you they're going to look for a job in a specific field that they have studied. Again, giving their best to a monster that keeps us in the conditions that we're in because black business haven't reached the point where we can dominate um, different parts of the market. For example, if Jan Matzinger patent and invented the shoe lasting machine, why isn't it a black owned shoe company in the billions already? $1 billion shoe company. Now you have black owned shoe companies. I can name 4 off the top, but they are not in a position of a Nike, a Puma, Adidas, a Gucci, a Prada, whatever. Still to this day. Hold on, brother. Let me take you up. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I said them ugly Balenciagas, them ugly Johns.
And
you know what's crazy, sis?
For that foolishness. But go ahead.
What is it? Puma, Nike, and one other company are all relatives. They're all relatives. I think it's 2 brothers and a cousin. Puma, Nike, and I want to say Adidas. If it's not Adidas, it's Pony. But they're all relatives, blood relatives, dominating the sneaker industry. And I think, not what I think, what I know is that we were brought here for material gain to build up this country, to build up their wealth, And now that we have the information and knowledge through our story, understand it from generation to generation, it's time that we really start supporting one another, putting our money together. I watched a documentary on YouTube about Louis Vuitton. He was a vagrant. He was a vagrant. His father made luggage. That's how he learned how to make luggage. He took the scraps, just threw them on old luggage, and just put his own value on it. And it's unfortunate that we don't value what we have. You know, we have some of the greatest minds in the world, and everybody know that except us. We know we're intelligent. We know we lit. We know we make something out of nothing. We watch grandma do it millions of times. Grandma was like Jesus. Give her 2 fish and 5 loaves, she feeding the whole hood, you know, or 5 fish, 2 loaves, whatever, you know, but she gonna make it happen. But our intelligence, our genius helps us to make something out of nothing when we talk about inventions and all of those type things. Because I realize now, everybody in this new age is talking about mindset, talking about using imagination, but that's what we've always done. That's how we made it this far. We suffered the worst atrocity in human history, not recorded, not videotaped, in human history. We survived that and still flourish and move forward so that everybody else still wants to be like us. They want to dress like us. They want to dance like us. They want their hair like us. Everybody wants to be us except us. And that's a problem when we don't see the value in us. Kayla told me the other day, my baby Kayla, she is in the algebra honors program. And I told her, yeah. I said, baby, I always know my baby gonna do good, but she always exceeded my expectation. But I told her the importance of algebra that many of us didn't know when we were coming up. Algebra helps you find the value when nobody else sees it. Algebra helps you see what's unseen. A lot of times we take things for face value, and we, as Black folks, we don't see the value in people, places, and things. Only until somebody else ascribe a value to it do we think it's valuable. You know, we'll know the price, but we don't know the value. So I was telling her, like with algebra, you have to find the value of X, or find the value of Y, or find the value of XY. It helps you find things that the naked eye can't see. It teaches you critical thinking skills, which a lot of us lack this day and age. And this ain't to beat up on our people, because we're the most beautiful people, but we need a collective consciousness to move forward. I watched something the other day, and they asked I don't know if he was a politician or something, but he's an important Chinese dude, and a Black man asked him, how did they move forward? He said, we stuck with our 2,000-year-old culture. All the different clans and different divisions, we pulled them together under one Chinese consciousness and philosophy, and we move forward with that. And I mean, that's so powerful, because in this short span of less than 100 years, we watched China go from one of the poorest nations to a superpower. How did they do it? That's what we should be asking ourselves. How did they do it? With a piece of what we had, they somehow became a superpower. And we got to start studying the winners. How do people win? Why do they win? And one of the things they said, it was the collective consciousness, the one thing that we once did have, because if you read Howard Zinn's book, the People's History of the United States, they talked about the power in African people, why they couldn't break us. And that's because they found out the power was in our family. We value family over everything. But somehow we forgot that. We forgot that collective consciousness, that grandma and mommy and grandpa and pop, they're very important people. We forgot that the babies are our most important assets that we have. So now we throw the children away, we throw the parents away, we throw the grandparents away, and we chasing a lifestyle that is not of our own. We chasing ideas and thoughts and a value system that's not inherently ours. So with that, we've lost our way. So while we lost, we bumping into each other in the dark, taking on this idea that we're our own worst enemy and that we're each other's enemy. And that's not true, because that's saying black people their own worst enemy comes from Francis Blackmore. He was a sociologist. And he said black people their own worst enemy. And that's why he justified the oppression of white people against black. He said, if they leave us alone, we're childish, we're imbecile. So they need to control us. Because if they leave us to our own vices, we're our own worst enemies. That's where that comes from. And that's why I don't say that black people are our own worst enemies. Do we do each other dirty? Of course. Do Chinese people do each other dirty? Of course. White folks, Indians, every group of people, every crime that's committed against any group of people, most likely are done by their own people. It's done in proximity. But they always ascribe black on black crime to black people, because what the term black is an adjective. And subconsciously dealing with this European lexicon, they're just ascribing criminality to black people. So they'll just call it black on black crime instead of just calling it crime. They don't call white crime white on white crime. They don't call Asian crime Asian on Asian crime. They just call it crime. But with us, they give it an identity. They give it an adjective. They describe it and ascribe it to us. So subconsciously, we run around, look at ourselves as criminals. So we look at each other as criminals, and we adopt this criminal culture that we see prevailing now in 2020, in 2022, But I'm gonna step off my soapbox. I see we got our brother BlakSmith in the house.
Yo, what's up, BlakSmith? What's good with you?
What's up, Sister Keisha? What up, brother Tad? Where my man Ashe at? What it do with it?
Ashe is off on assignment tonight. He'll be back next week.
Okay. How y'all doing? Peace.
I'm chilly most smooth, trying to bust a move.
Yeah, man. That's what's up. Listen, it's really crazy times. I want to go deep tonight. So, Keisha, come with them questions, because I got other info other than what we discussed earlier today.
All right. So I want to go back to something that Brother Bomani put up. He said that, we completely disconnect ourselves from our struggle, number one. And number two, he says, we look at our freedom fighters as people in history and dropping our responsibilities of fighting. That's correct.
That's 100% right.
I agree with that 100% because it seems that people, our folks, feel they don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything. Just go into a voting poll and make a vote. That's it. They don't got to do nothing. You understand? Go to school, get your education, and to come out and get a job. Instead of going to school, learning what they know, come back home, start your own business, employ your own people, and destroy them in the process. That's never the goal. As Brother Tad said, how did China do it? That was the philosophy. The first 2 hours of any class in China is philosophy followed by history. That is mandatory. So even in their progression in life, whether they travel abroad or live abroad, the philosophy remains the same. They understand their history. They understand it. They understand who their enemy is. So do the Arab community. So do the Hispanic community. Everybody understands this philosophy. The problem is, until recently, in recent times, I won't say today, that's not true, but in recent history, in recent time, contemporary times, when we started formulating African-centered schools, however, they are far and few in between. There are not enough. We have not been able legally to make sure that education dollars are controlled by us, for us, the way other communities can. And that falls right in line with us being confused, not knowing who we are, not knowing what our political position should be, what our cultural position should be. We have to deal with all of that, because I see as we move further away from reality into a technological world, I think, well, I know, because uh, let me go back, because I don't want to say that, but I do know that the culture will become more diluted, and that is the goal. That is the goal. Everybody, like you said, can feed off of us, spit on us, steal from us, take from us, whatever. We're the stepping stone to the world. But if we try to do it, it's a problem. When other groups are marginalized, not being treated equally or justly, legislation is written so that they can progress. The problem is there is no less legislation specifically for us to foster that progression. So, if you have, and this is a fact, that it is a black owned manufacturing company, as I mentioned here on this program many times before, that does the upholstery for GM and a lot of other car companies. Don't get me started on car companies. I don't know nothing about that. I'm just telling you. I'm just saying that he owns a company. He has over 3,000 employees. However, he doesn't have a monopoly on upholstering motor vehicles the way other communities have a monopoly on footwear, have a monopoly on apparel, have a monopoly on electronics, have a monopoly on technology. So that's why I'm saying, wherever we go, however we go, we have to have total control of what we're doing, and culture and philosophy has to be at the forefront of it. Because when you look at other communities, that is in the forefront of their leadership. Go ahead, Brother Tad.
And to the point, I think that's a good segue to go into what we see happening to Whoopi Goldberg right now, which I think is extreme. Even though I'm no Whoopi Goldberg fan, I still think it's extreme just by her commenting on it. Because in this social paradigm, it's as if Jewish folks have a monopoly on suffering and race. I believe Whoopi said that the Holocaust was not just about race, and they just went off the deep end with it. However, it wasn't just about race because Jewish people could hide their ethnicity. They were able to hide if they were Jewish or not. That's why they had to walk around with the stars on their clothing to identify them. Now, black people, on the other hand, it's funny how it's as if we're not even qualified to talk about race. And we know a whole system has been built against us based on race. And that we can trace back to their greatest theologians and thinkers and their greatest historic figures. I mean, it's just so insulting. But without that collective consciousness, without understanding that we're a unified front, if we were to be one, if we were to be a unified front, then they know there would be consequences for that. Withdrawals and all with us supporting one another. Because if we can support one another, then we can withdraw because we'll have an alternative to which they shouldn't really even be an option for support. We come with the talent. We come with the ideas. We come with the imaginations. We come with the gifts. It's just unfortunate that they get paid off of what we made. And here it is, Whoopi, says something that I didn't think was too inflammatory. But again, it goes to show that you can't speak against particular groups, specifically the Jews.
Yeah, but for everybody who didn't know, what was said or whatever,
Oh,
we'll just
yes.
play that really quick so that you guys can hear it, because I want to break this down, this commentary down, um, off of what Brother Tab was talking about. Hold on one second, y'all. I don't know. For some reason, it's trying to mess with me. It's trying to mess with me. Don't want us. Brother Bomani, you might be right on that. I
That's why
don't
I'm
know.
laughing
It's
at
switching to
Bomani.
different files.
I'm
Tell
laughing
you,
at Bomani.
Bomani, you said it right. Tad just started it. Now you see.
Herbie?
Go ahead, BlakSmith. Your thoughts on Whoopi?
I said I think that was a picture, but it's probably a screenshot. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, as far as Whoopi, I love it. Let me tell you why. Whoopi is from downtown Brooklyn. Whoopi's over 60 years old. Whoopi, deal with them people hard body. That's how she got where she got. Let's face it, whether we want to realize that or not. From Brooklyn, like Barbara Streisand or anybody else who's from New York. That's
But we disowning her. We disowning her as Brooklynites. We're disowning her. But go ahead.
Hold on. Let me finish. I'm
But go
coming
ahead.
right now. I'm about to hit you over the head. Now, you're not going to tell me that she spontaneously said that off the rip because that was in her mind. She know better than that. She from New York. We deal with them hats all the time. We work for most of them. Most of us work for them some kind of how, some kind of way. Okay, so what I'm saying is I believe that's the distraction from all the stuff that we supposed to be talking about to the world.
I don't know about distraction. I'm talking about her free speech here.
They took the Nick Cannon template. That's all they did. Nick Cannon template, same crap, different wording. Who's the people that always seem to turn up when it comes to talking about them? Only them.
Yep.
You're not gonna tell me Whoopi don't know better by now. She want that cake. Why she gonna cut her cake for? In her city.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about it.
I mean, we all know that you can't, and that's the problem, because it's as if they're the only groups that suffered a Holocaust. Ours was the Mayafa, which the numbers don't compare.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to compare suffering, but if you want to, and it's funny how it's as if they're the authorities on human suffering. As if ours ever even had an end date. Nobody came to fight for us. Nobody came. They had a world war going on for them. They still getting reparations from this country that ain't had nothing to do with it. This country came and fought and helped them.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, it's
okay.
It's so real quick. It's so multi-layered because on one hand, you're helping the people that are suffering. On the other hand, you're hiding the perpetuators of this suffering. Right. You're hiding them and changing their names and then using some of their technology against us, But when the Nazis said they got the idea from what America was doing. How about that? See, I come full circle.
Oh,
but go ahead, Brother BlakSmith.
Okay, real quick. Now what we could do on this very show right here, and I could do it in less than 2 minutes, is break down who they really are. Since they don't want to be white and be ethnic as Jews. Come on, I'm just using words and saying what it is. Y'all know the origins of them people. So what are they? Caucasians or are they ethnically Jews? When we know that the real Jews come from the Hebrews, from Negro land up there in a land called Judah that used to be called Palestine, and then they got renamed Israel. Come on, man. Who don't know that?
Well, here's the thing. I want to go to her comments. She said that, it wasn't about race, that it was about evil fighting evil.
And humanity toward man.
Right. And then you had I think what's the name who used to be on the View? Meghan McCain.
Yeah.
Make comments that, she is pro-Israel and that Whoopi Goldberg's comments was insensitive. But here's the thing. As soon as she said it, right after she said it, she received notification from GMs at ABC, Miss Goodwin, who said that she was suspended for 2 weeks. Now, this is the same network that would allow you black folks to be called the N-word, um, black women to be degraded, black men to be degraded on various shows.
Right.
However, there is no apparatus that would allow us to make a phone call to ABC to have someone removed in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
That is the power. And what I'm saying is that through our civil rights struggle, matter of fact, before that, let me go back to the Niagara movement, going back to the NAACP's founding. They have injected themselves into black suffering and have capitalized off of that. Are you a race or are you a religion? And how do you get to switch between the two back and forth?
Yeah, it's a game.
I'll tell you how they can do that. The reason they can do that is because rabbinical courts say that they can.
Right. Hey, but Keisha,
black people have suffered here and still don't have a court system to deal specifically for our issues, but they do.
Keisha, peep game real quick. I'm not going to take long to say this. Peep game. Note they never say those two words that they used to use in the 80s and 90s as soon as you got an issue with them. What is those two words? Y'all both know them. We from New York. All of us are from New York. Two words that they used to use.
Anti-Semitic, you talking about?
There you go. They don't say it no more because it's not, that wasn't an issue of race. Deal with the wording and the issue if you feel it's that serious. She didn't say nothing wrong. Whether you love it or hate it. That's that cancel culture we're now in, and they're using that because they losing so much. We got to talk about this more than 10 minutes. It's not that serious. It really isn't. She gonna get her cake. She's under a contract.
Here's the thing. It is serious. It is serious because, and this will segue into the commentary that Tasha K made about her verdict in the lawsuit of Cardi B against her. For quite some time, free speech has been being cut underneath us. Going back to when, what was his name? Roy Ennis and Al Sharpton had a fight. Well, I think it was Morton Downey Jr. show. I think it was.
Yeah, well, I remember that crap.
Geraldo. It was on Geraldo when he got his nose broke.
Hey, we were all 50 pounds lighter then.
I'm going to keep quiet on that one. But anyway, going back then, there was a big to-do about the commentary that they both made on the program.
Right.
And I was listening to that, understanding how this is going to hinder free speech for Black people, especially as we become more vocal. Because during the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, Black music, Black cinematography became more vocal about the plight of Black people in this country.
Right.
You have more Black high schoolers itching to get to college, especially Black colleges. Everybody was rocking it. And anyway, I found that to be very interesting that nobody understood the problem of hindering free speech. And I knew that right after that, or was it right before that, when they canceled Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Right. In the Congress.
When the Congress canceled Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. No one understood what was really happening. We always the test studies for everybody else. So cancel culture now, you know, all these white men getting canceled or what have you, or white women getting canceled. That was the blueprint, and nobody picked it up back then. Because when I look at anything, I look at it in a legal paradigm.
Right.
I'm trained that way. If you don't like it, you blame automatics. I'm trained that way. So I look at everything in a legal paradigm. And I found out to be very problematic. And then when black people was in an uproar over Don Imus making inflammatory comments about the girls basketball team at Rutgers University, and when everybody was saying we need to get him removed, I was like, hold it, wait a minute. I disagree with that. You may not like it, but to cancel someone's free speech, you breaking the law. And being that the Democrats was running things back then, they were Clinton's 2 terms running things back then. You are now voting your way into silence. So now what the populace is using black suffering to silence black people from complaining or making any intellectual commentary about another said group.
I don't agree with that. Let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
You're not Whoopi Goldberg, Tad isn't, and I'm not either. We saying all that stuff on YouTube, and that's why they start censoring that. And now we saying it on Gab and Getter and Telegram and whatever social media, because we're not going to stop doing it. We're not going to stop doing it. I mean, we can't compare ourselves to somebody who's on network TV who is internationally known. So, you know, it's like how the movement, a lot of people want to say there's no Malcolms. Malcolm lived in the 60s and died in the 60s. Okay. It's about what we doing right now, because Malcolm can't do it for us. We should have learned what he went through and related to now, just updated with technology and, you know, what have you. Of course, you have to update it. So it's the same premise. There's when we old and gone, or whatever the case may be, there are going to be other people doing what we do, or maybe not, because we'll be out of that time, which is close. And this is what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm saying? There's always going to be even if you look at any revolution, in most cases, most of the people don't fight. It's usually about 10%. That is across cultural, color, whatever you want to call it. It's usually 10. I'm talking in a society like this. I'm not talking about us, because we went to war for reasons, and it was very little killings. We didn't war, you know, to like totally kill that tribe over there and decimate the rest of them, rape the women and just, you know, beat the kids up, and they grow up resenting us, and then, you know, like a movie. So, you know, in that regard, I don't agree. But, you know what I'm saying? You know, Whoopi Goldberg is, you know, an international star, you know, is, whether you want to say she's ugly or not, she's well known everywhere in the world. You know?
Got you. But
I actually think,
but
let me this real quick. What 1 second, Keisha. I gotta say this. I honestly think she's been arrested and is in Gitmo, and that's just a clone or a CGI or whatever.
I don't know. But regular everyday folks is being canceled.
Yeah.
Especially in the corporate world.
Right.
Let me explain this to you.
Right. Like me.
2 or 3 years ago, in most corporate companies, you had to take a sensitivity test. I'm serious. You had to take a sensitivity test. And in that test, words you shouldn't say. That's hindrance of free speech. And it's happening to the everyday. Everyday folks on YouTube get canceled. YouTube, Twitter, whatever, get canceled.
Right. I'm
saying this to say that we, unfortunately, don't understand the power of politics, the power of law, and the power of culture and philosophy. We lose because we don't understand that. And we have this belief, a lot of us, not us, have a belief that if you're not regimented, if you're not doing A, B, and C, then you against the culture. I'm not with that.
Right.
I'm not. Listen, like I always say, I don't care what your religious background is, where you work at. I don't care if you is the president of a major corporation or on a stripper pole. As long as you understand that the philosophy and everything that we have to do must be black first.
I agree. No, I agree with that.
So now, in this time,
Oh, for sure.
the last few years, I would say this has been a mantra in this technological world to be black first, right? For the
Right.
past few years.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of black people around the world are adapting that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have our own media platforms, not needing them anymore, telling our own stories, why not go after the biggest and baddest to shut them down first? Why not?
Okay.
A lot of people have fear. You know, that's just my take on it. A lot of people have fear. So now, segueing, moving into this verdict in Tasha K's case and her lawsuit, Cardi B's lawsuit against her for defamation. That too, I may not agree. You may not agree, but my experience and my understanding of things, I should be able to voice them accordingly and not have to be hindered by someone's feelings, because nobody cares about our feelings. You know, like Taz said, the hats have made billions off of us, trillions off of us, you know, but don't do it to them. So why not go after the biggest and the baddest, whether it's on social media, YouTube, or mainstream television?
Right.
Because everybody getting a know your place card on mainstream. Everybody getting a Don Lemon, all of them getting a know your place. Simone Sanders, you know,
that's
Joy Reid, all of them getting a card.
That's the point I'm making. Is if you at that level on the show like that, where it's shown around the world. This is network television now, so they got a cable affiliate, an internet affiliate. So this stuff is being broadcast while it's being shot and then taped and after. All I'm saying is all those people are look at the top echelon people right now at CNN. All of them is under indictment. Just about. I mean, everybody that you know is under some kind of indictment right now as we speak. And the president of the whole company retired today or yesterday. Resigned. Why? Jack Dorsey's not at Twitter no more. Zuckerberg, I heard you talking about it in the beginning, just lost $200 billion.
Yeah.
What the hell? There's moves being made that, this is what I'm talking about. We distracted. We ain't talking about that stuff. What does that stuff mean in comparison to us talking about Whoopi Goldberg for more than 15 minutes already?
But because it all ties into each other, because like we were saying at the top of the show, you know, we were talking about the metaverse, but what Sister Keisha is talking about also is the censorship, because our platforms and others on social media is so valuable. Because remember, Trayvon Martin's murder was swept under the rug. It was because of social media. If you can remember, at the time Trayvon Martin was murdered, they was distracting us with Coney 2012, and we saw how that turned out. Right. You know, Coney 2012 was just a fake documentary for them to steal money, because the people did steal the money. They were talking about child soldiers and stuff. So while everybody's thinking they're helping out, talking about child soldiers, them kids was grown men at the time they put that out. But they was forcing that, and that went viral. Meanwhile, Trayvon was dead in the backyard. And it was only because of social media. Right. I remember I put a post there, everybody talking about Coney 2012, because my son, he's now 23. He said, WTF is Coney 2012. And I told him, I said, yo, Coney 2012 is a fake incident that's going on. It's so old, but now people are getting paid off it, but nobody's talking about the young man that was murdered in his own backyard. That's what we was just calling it at the time before we knew all the details. Right. That's how Trayvon Martin's story came to be in mainstream media. Same thing with Mike Brown now. Let's not be fooled, because Black Lives Matter rode the coattail of Mike Brown.
Oh yeah,
but
for
only
sure.
on the strength that social media made Mike Brown's case go viral. Same thing with George Floyd, same thing with Eric Garner, same thing with so many others. And not to capitalize off of Black suffering, but what it is that our stories were going to be silent, because you got to remember that was in a post-racial America at the time. They was trying to sell a different narrative. Yeah. But because of social media, we were able to tell our truths. So now what they're trying to do is silence our truths and still catapult their narratives. Same thing with this pandemic. They're not giving you a dissenting voice. They're not giving you the other side of the table, they have to say. They're just giving you Fauci's expertise, and that's it. I don't even see it going viral that Dr. Oz said he want to have a public debate with Dr. Fauci. Why that's not going viral? Come on, it's Dr. Oz.
You know why? Because he's a part of it too, man. If you
that's right. But let me say this: if you
have a television show under your name,
and I agree with that. I agree with that. But my point is, to piggyback off what Sister Keisha's saying, is they're trying to crush free speech, because Dr. Oz did say he still support vaccinations. However, I did like his position. He said, but I think that's between the individual and their doctor. This whole thing is not a one size fits all.
Right.
And if we can have dialogue, that's what we need, because right now it's all a monologue. Whether we have a monologue, we definitely need a dialogue. Whether we agree with either one of them is of little consequence, but at least we get to hear another side. The direction they're going in right now is make everything a monologue, and they're trying to make everybody think monolithically. And that's what Sister Keisha is saying. They're trying to crush freedom of speech. Whether we agree with them or not, it's not the point. The point is that they're trying to crush everybody. So the moment you don't agree with popular narrative, you're wrong. Because I hear what you're saying, Brother BlakSmith. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm feeling you.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, they don't want nobody to have their own thoughts. It's all about turning us all into slaves. Because remember, a slave is not made by chains. It's made by thoughts. And that's what they're trying to do. Once we understand that, then we can start properly resisting, because it ain't always physical. I always tell children, this is the strongest weapon we have. This, not the muscles, not the guns. This right here.
Right.
And I'm off my soapbox.
Okay, in that regard, I agree with you. And we all could come at this from different angles. The point I'm making is that where, let me say more in particular with Sister Keisha, is that I believe it's a distraction that they can use for people to be talking about it, because like I always said, we've always been talking about it, but I'm coming from the perspective of us being as chosen people that know this already, whether you agree with it or how sensitive you get about feeling about it. You feel where I'm coming from? That's where I'm coming from. Not
no, I agree with you. I agree with you, brother.
So let's just cut this out.
But check it out, brother. Let me say this real quick. Our people are tuning in to learn. So just because we may know it, our people don't know it. And because we know it, it's our job to teach them. But we can't throw them in the deep end of the pool. Just because we in calculus advanced, they still might be in freshman seminar one-on-one. So we got to teach them where they're at. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all we're doing. What you're saying, and I like what you said when you said all angles. We have to attack at all angles. We have to have all bases covered. We all can't be on one accord. We just have to resist in whatever space we're in. So I agree with you to that point. But just like their tentacles are everywhere, we have to be on the defense everywhere. You know, so I definitely agree with that point.
Hey, I'm looking at an 8-man basketball team right now.
yeah.
Crazy,
you know,
crazy.
So that's but real quick, that's why it's important we bring it up, brother. That's why it's important we bring it up, because we don't want to talk and go over the people's heads, because then we lose them. We got to get them where they at and bring them upstairs.
Okay, got it. I got it.
Got to keep it in elementary terms, my brother. Mike Gray, shout out to the History Hitman.
That's
and
right.
the William Mackey Study Group. They're going to have Trust Graham in all month, in the month of February. And if you
shout out to Trust Graham. Shout out to Trust Graham.
Yeah.
Hey, let me say something real quick, Keisha, while we kind of on the snake bite, real quick. When the Supreme Court had their ruling about 2 weeks ago about the workplace mandate, if you got over 100 employees in your job, it wasn't for just COVID. It's a universal vaccine mandate. Now you don't have to get no shot when you go to a job in order to get the job. Now they could test you, but you don't have to take the shot. You know, like some jobs you got to take. It's mandatory for you to take a flu shot. It's just that you ain't getting the job without it. I know, I've been through a few, so I'm just telling you. I just wanted to put that out because we had mentioned that for a moment, and I didn't want to forget that part. Good, you can go now. I'm sorry.
Something that Mike Graves, the history hitman, he said Whoopi became famous from obscurity because she defied the ban and crossed the boycott and performed in South Africa during the apartheid regime.
Yeah,
which is true.
I remember that.
Which is true, and she has always touted, she was pro-Jewish people. She said, I always felt, connected. That's what she said. So, she got the Nick Cannon rule this past week. So you don't be talking about us now. Walk that Negro stuff over there. Don't be mentioning nothing about us at all. But this is the control mechanism, and that's just what I wanted to point out.
Right.
Control of media, control of free speech, whether you agree or disagree. There are plenty of people we disagree with, but let them say it. Because when you nullify free speech, you nullify your ability to fight.
Yeah.
And when you nullify your ability to fight, frustration comes out. That's why you have the Second Amendment to back up the first. That's why it was written. I'm serious, in that order. That's why. So they keep putting the hammer down. It's going to be some stuff that they really don't want. And I'm going to step off my soapbox with that one as we move right on along.
Okay.
What are some of your, brother BlakSmith, in our history?
I hear echo back there, Mama. I think it's
what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to unmute you when you speak. In your history, in your learning of history, of our history, who was one of your most favorite critical thinkers and why?
Wow. Somebody who's totally like unheard of in this day and age, because he was really in my opinion, as far as being famous, the epitome of what a black man should be, and that's Paul Robeson. Because most of us are him,
Why would you say Paul Robeson?
Because the man was a genius at everything he did. Genius. I mean, football player, attorney, actor, singer, architect. He was a Imhotep. I consider myself the same, not with those skills, but I know how to do a lot of different stuff, and have done it in New York. Not in some small town 50 miles away you never heard of. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? I know how to DJ. I know how to rap.
Not in the boondocks.
I know how to play ball. I played ball in Gersh Park in Brooklyn in the 80s.
Shout out to Gersh.
I'm about to say, you said Gersh, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and the dudes know me from playing ball out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not from out there. Other things as well. So I'm right.
We know.
Host a show, lecture.
I'm not gonna get on you for that, but we know.
Paul Robeson, because he has so many skills and fighting for the people. I mean, he lost a lot of years of his life. Like, he was basically gangster. But back then, without the technology we got now, of course. But they took his passport. He was an international dude going everywhere. Russia, when it was unheard of for black people to be in Russia. Come on.
He spoke it.
Yeah.
He spoke the language. Brother Taz, some of your greatest philosophers, critical thinkers, and why?
All right. Let me see. Malcolm is always going to be at the top. Malcolm is always at the top because we only understand if you understand a complex situation, if you could break it down to its simplest terms. And no matter what the complexity of any issue Malcolm discussed, he always broke it down in layman terms and make it plain. The most ignorant dope fiend on the corner could understand what Malcolm was talking about and walk away with an understanding of the complex issues of the world. of
Yes,
world
sir.
politics, economics, spirituality. Malcolm made it so plain that anybody could get it, you know, and that's why it was Malcolm for me. You know, I'm trying to think. Of course, there's other people like Dr. Clark, you know, definitely Dr. Amos Wilson, who was just a genius in my eyes. You know, there were so many. But as I was saying earlier, you know, you can't teach the people if you can't reach the people. Sometimes people use big words and they use complex schemes to convey their message, and you got to be of a certain education or intellect to get what they're saying. But Malcolm made it so plain.
Make it plain, Malcolm.
That a 5-year-old would understand exactly what he's talking about. And I think in our pursuit of intelligence and intellectualism, we got to be relatable to the people. Because too many times that I've learned in this movement, we're always preaching to the choir. We're always talking to the people that already know these things. But meanwhile, the regular, average, everyday Black person wants to know. But if we can't speak it in the language that they understand, we're going to lose them. Because the enemy is aggressive. They're active 24/7. TV don't go off no more. The radio don't go off. The billboards is on the buses, the trains. Their messages everywhere.
Yeah.
So when we get the opportunity to get their ear, we got to seize the moment.
Yes,
and
sir.
make our point effective and palatable that they can take it. Can't just tell them, "Oh, you stupid because you still believe in this and you still doing that." No, we turn people off with that.
Yeah.
We got to understand. We got to be gentle with our folks because we're in some critical times and we almost at the finish line. And I mean, we could still win this thing, but we got a lot of mileage to make up. So I always give it to Malcolm.
We already
always
won.
give it to Malcolm. And encourage people real quick. And I will always encourage people to listen to 2 of Malcolm's lectures, A Message to the Grassroots and The Ballad or the Bullet. The Ballad or the Bullet and The Message to the Grassroots. Of course, he got so many others like Extremism is No Vice and so many other lectures. But Message to the Grassroots, I think that's for anybody could digest that one.
We already won, brother.
Yeah, we just need to cross the finish line and get the trophy in the economics.
There you go. There you, my man. My man. There it is. Keisha, go ahead. You go, sister.
Yes, sister.
I would say I have 2. One is Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Ashe.
The other is Dr. Julia Hare. For different reasons.
Ashe.
Dr. Khalid, as you said, Brother Tad, was very relatable to the people. Matter, I don't care if he was 90 years old or 3 years old, you understood what Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was saying and where he wanted our people to go and what he wanted our people to understand about themselves and the power that they had within themselves. Dr. Julia Hare, because she understood and related the connection between Black people and white dominance and how to overthrow it within our own culture, using our own culture to do it. She warned us about the letter crew long time ago. She warned us about all of that. And very relatable to Black women and Black mothers in particular. So those are my 2 critical thinkers. But, you know, we have so many.
Yeah, and I got to give it to Dr. Khalid because that's who brought me in the movement. That was, I would say, the first master teacher / freedom fighter I've ever met in the flesh, in person, was Dr. Khalid. And he gave me his number. I could have been a lunatic, but of course he knew I wasn't. But, you know, he gave me his Atlanta number and his New York number.
Wait a minute.
You know, and that's what I mean. To your point, he was personable. And you know, I was just blessed to be in his presence. I was sharing that with somebody the other day. When I was around Dr. Khalid, I just sat quiet and learned, watch him speak with other people. And I was just learning because the wealth of information he had, I thought I knew some things. I was about 23 years old. By then, I done read a ton of books. I done read a lot of books. So, you know, my arrogance made me think I knew it all. Got around Dr. Khalid, knew I ain't know nothing. All them books I read, I still ain't know nothing. I was like, all right, let me just sit here and be quiet and learn. You know, I done read Dr. Amos Wilson, Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. I done read on Frederick Douglass, The Narrative of the Life. What else I read? I read so many other books. I read Civilization of Barbarism by Sheikh Anta Diop. I read so many books when I got around Dr. Khaled. I said, damn, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. No, I read New Dimensions in African History after I met Dr. Khalid. But yeah, I realized I didn't know nothing.
Especially being, fearless
Yes.
towards these aggressors.
Yes.
Fearless. If anything, he taught you to be fearless. And the
Yes.
same with Dr. Julia here, as it relates to psychology and how we deal with things in this system. I would employ everybody to, look into her works, her and her husband, Dr. Nathan here, but look into her works to see, exactly what she was saying. Because Black women oftentimes compromise happiness and their own self gratification for the enemy. For the enemy. I just have to be truthful on that. And y'all can challenge me on that if you want to. I'll debate anybody anywhere because I've seen it. I've lived amongst it. It's happening right now in front of us. As far as, doing things for ourselves by ourselves, we have to understand that. And it starts with your mother. It starts with mother in the household. You know, from day one, I always let my child and children know who the enemy is, what you have to do to maintain yourself and to beat the enemy. I always tell my grandson, same thing. I don't care if he's 4 years old. Because, he likes the Black Sands anime series. He likes all that. But I'm teaching him how he can do those things for himself. Right? So when I find something that I wanted to trade on Robinhood or whatever, he got his account too. Because you have to train them differently than we were. We weren't trained that way. If we were, we would all be sitting in prettier positions right now. We are always taught to be of service. Go to school, get a good education so you can do what? Get a good job, right? To help better somebody else, not us. So unfortunately, we're going to have to change the mindset as we learn our history, figure out your plan for the future, where we want to go with it. So that's just my take on it. But I wanted to go back for a minute because you mentioned this thing about the CDC, and now they're saying herd immunity is a good thing. Herd immunity is a good thing.
But see,
But
Sister Keisha,
before that
because
didn't
we're
work.
always futuristic.
All of us was nuts.
Haven't we said that? Haven't we said that a long time ago, though? And that's what I'm saying. We're futuristic. Our conversations move us forward because everybody else is lagging. Not saying that, we know it all. However, the writing is on the wall. The information is out there. And with these monologues, it don't give you the opportunity to weigh in the evidence because we're only hearing one side of the story. But this is what we know to be true. First of all, I was against the mask, right? Even though I wear one sometimes in public, some people I don't want to smell, I don't want to breathe their air. However, we know you're not supposed to breathe carbon dioxide. We know that. That's basic science 101.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's 101. You learn the plant life, the relation between humans and plants. You learn that in elementary school. They need our carbon dioxide. We need the oxygen they give off. It's a fair exchange. So what do we like? And they talking about trust the science. I trust the science, just not the scientists. But I just want to put that out there.
Go on, Pat.
Listen, again, free speech. nullified all voices who were talking about herd immunity, and that, as Brother Taz says, keeping these masks on for long periods of time, breathing carbon dioxide, these things to be problematic. Now, you had credible physicians, attorneys, people who work in the pharmaceutical industries who talked about a different position. Started out with herd immunity. They were called quacks, nut jobs, banned from social media, banned from other media streaming platforms, just vanished out of nowhere. You had one doctor who was arrested and kidnapped. This is crazy.
Remember Dr. Judy Mikovits?
That's her. That's it, Chad.
Who was arrested, and she was the director of the CDC at one time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Come on now. So again,
she was against it from the beginning.
Going back to mainstream media, who have been drilling it in folks' head. Jab, 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 jab on top of jab on top of jab. If you ain't jab, we're going to find your business. We're going to shut your business down. You can't go to work. You can't take your kids to school. You can't do this, that, and the third.
And Sister Keisha,
that mainstream media, I got to listen to their physicians.
They was finding businesses $10,000. They were finding businesses $10,000. I went to Mike's Deli, Mike's Diner, right? On DeKalb. He said, yo, they want to fine me $10,000 if somebody don't, comply. And that's, we were regular customers at the time. And he was like, yo, unfortunate, I can't afford it. He said, and they'll come back the next day and the next day. Imagine they come to you 3 times a week and find a violation. That's $30,000 in 1 week. And if they do it every week, come on, that's $120,000. That's $120,000 in 1 month.
They have been doing that, Brother Tad.
Yes.
The Black-owned businesses. Shout out to Southern Comfort. We can't let that shut down. I need my collard green, macaroni and cheese, and yam egg rolls. They off the chain. Now, listen, they too face some problems.
I was about to say, is that what the fundraiser's for?
Yes. See what I'm saying? So now, when this whole mantra was, go back to what I said, of Black people being black first, shop black, buy black, and it's growing and growing and growing. Who suffers the most?
Always.
Black business is being shut down. If you're not e-commerce, it's being shut down. It's being shut down.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If we don't control the speech, your speech, because speech directs your politics, directs your philosophy, directs your law. When you hinder people from doing that, you hinder yourself. So whether you agree or disagree with Miss Goldberg, Tasha K, or whoever, that's not the point. That's not the point. That's not the point. And it hinders your right to fight back how you want to. Right. So, for example, if Brother BlakSmith had a show where he was going in and calling Brother Tad, Brother Ashe, Sister Keisha, all kind of names or whatever, I have a right, if I see him on the street, to pop him in the mouth. You are hindering. I'm serious. You laugh, but I'm serious.
No. I would never, man. I'll call you baby sweetheart.
No, I'm just saying, you know what I mean.
I'm just messing with you.
But this is what happens. This is how it starts. And if we don't get in the forefront of this, bring me back to Tasha K's commentary where she said it wasn't about Cardi B, it's about free speech. And she gonna fight it to the Supreme Court if she have to.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, speaking of Supreme Court, you have some interest of President Joe Biden for Supreme Court justice. I think it's 5 Black women, I believe. You hear about these judges, Brother BlakSmith?
I don't really, of course, it's been major news for the past week. So, I'm checking it out and what have you. I come from the belief that Trump already had, if we're going to say names, let's say 45. So I believe 45 already got a grip on everything, and he just showing the people so y'all can know what y'all would have went through if y'all had let this election get stolen, and then they took over, and now we see what it is. They about to finish that the protocols we've been living under for almost 3 years now. That's done. So now they gotta beat up they gotta promote the war drums. And the war drums ain't nothing but the good guys going to all the borders. So when it's go time, they're just gonna go grab the rest of the people that they haven't gotten yet. That's what that's about.
Well, again, you have to worry about conflict of interest.
How so in this case?
With these 5 judges, what are their interests?
Their
Is it the interest to help Black people or help themselves?
Well, okay, if we
now, if you look at their record, it's not to help Black people. But go ahead.
Of course not. Of course not. We're gonna look at the video.
So
those are the women. Those are the women.
Six. I said 5. It's 6. It's 6. So these are the 6 women that Biden is considering for Supreme Court justice.
Okay.
Now, I find this to be problematic. When you look at their record, it's not beneficial to Black people. So why should that be of interest?
It should be of interest because of the political intrigue. At this point, what's going to have to happen is the reset is going to have to happen, and that's going to be of no moment. We still dealing. Remember, if you ascribe to this, I'm not saying you do or you don't, but supposedly 45 is the president of is the commander in chief, and still the president of the republic, and 46 is the president of a bankrupt corporation called the United States.
Well, I'm not sure about all of that. I'm not.
Okay.
I have to be honest.
Okay, I got you.
I'm just saying about these 6 judges. There is a conflict of interest.
I would agree with that.
Here they are with their spouses.
You don't know how to make a point, do you?
No, I don't. Here they are with their spouses. Again, I don't know what their personal philosophies are, but just looking, it's a conflict of interest.
Of course, I agree.
The same with on the Republican side. What's the Supreme Court judge? Clarence Thomas. There is a conflict of interest as it relates to Black people. I don't care if it's going to be on the Democratic side. This is a conflict of interest.
I agree.
Now, going back to Kanye with shenanigans. Again, a conflict of interest. We have to take this into account. So again, for all of you voters out here, when you're voting down the Democratic line, remember that your president appoints or suggests your Supreme Court justice, and it has to be approved by the Senate. Now, if there's a split in the Senate, then Kamala Harris makes the deciding vote. She is the chairman of the Senate.
Right.
So either way, we getting screwed here. But again, you voted for it. One of the least things people look at when it comes to voting are judges and judgeships. But it's the judges who make these laws that hinder our progression, whether it's in reality, metaverse, or anything else. If it was agreed right now that we should have tangibles right now on the table while they figure out reparations. So let's say my tangible for our people is all Black African Americans debt free. I don't care what it is. If you own a car, if you're paying rent, whatever, you're debt free. Give Black people special ID cards. You do not pay taxes at all. If you go into a store, a restaurant, or file with the IRS, you pay no taxes. These going to a bank. Better Days Ahead Fitness wants to expand to all 50 states. Based on Tad's business practices, he should get that loan ASAP.
Right.
Matter of fact, if the interest rate is 18.5%, Tad should be 2 until they figure it out.
That's right.
These are tangibles that can be done right now. Right now, while they figure out the money plan. Now, if you ask any of these 6 judges, what tangibles can be given to African Americans right now if they are appointed and arguments are presented before them, I guarantee you. Now, I'm not a betting person. I'm not a gambler. I hate gambling because I don't like to lose. But I will put some money up and say that they would not vote our interest. Just on their personal relationships that they have with folks, some of whom they married to right here on the screen. So if I'm sleeping with someone who, let's say, agrees with Ms. Goodwin that what Whoopi Goldberg said was out of line and unjust, you know, that pillow talk is something else, boy.
Yes, it is.
That pillow talk is something else. So there, in my opinion, is a conflict of interest here. You understand? Not one in the bunch ain't got a black husband. All the hell that black men is catching, and not one of them, you couldn't find nobody. What about that judge that let the brother go, the brother who was the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor? What about that judge? I say give him a Supreme Court appointment because he let the brother go. He wasn't playing about it. Why did he get a Supreme Court appointment? Who the hell are these women and where they come from? And see, black people, because they are emotional as it relates to politics, will feel good about this appointment and think it's a win for the Democratic Party. You already got these talking bobbleheads like Michael Eric Dyson and the like talking about this is a good thing.
Yeah.
This Michael Eric Dyson, he should have been popped in the mouth a long time ago. This is what I'm saying. Everybody trying to be diplomatic and politically correct. No, some people need to be popped. A good open hand smack in the mouth. Like, this is crazy. Stop running your mouth reckless. It's not in the interest of our people. So, you know, I'm looking for tangibles right here, right now on the table. What could these judges do for me? If we move it into a technological world, and I have an IT company, I want federal contracts off the rip because I can get 5,000 IT techs to work for me overnight. So I want them government contracts off the rip. Can you help me with that? These are questions that these talking heads should be asking these judges, but they won't. They won't. And black people like melodic language. All they got to do is throw in some jive talk or whatever, and black people fall in love. You know, that's how Jesse Jackson got you. You know, keep hope alive. That melodic language, boy, I'm telling you, boy. Knowing he was the knife in King's back. But you take off every King holiday and shop on top of that. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. So that's what I'm saying, you know, let's be careful of the messages that we're seeing, who's sending the message, what their agendas are, before you take a leap in voting for somebody, before you take a leap in, you know, co-signing something. Let's look up these judges' records. I haven't done that on all of them yet, but I want to know everybody's records. Listen, is this a Kamala Harris situation where the federal government had to tell her to stop locking black folks up? That it was too much? And you know that's crazy. When the feds tell you, stop, it's too damn much. You know, something is wrong here.
We ain't got enough jails built.
Who are these women? Who are these women? So that's just my take on it. I want us to be careful as we move through this political machine, as you move through this media maze that they keep flushing down your throat. and telling you what to do, what not to do. Think for yourself and let your history be your guide. That's why it's important for you to learn history because it has to be your guide. It is your blueprint for how you move in this world. My mama, I know y'all mamas used to tell you when you was younger, when you leave out of here, don't make me look bad.
That's a fact.
Don't have me looking bad out here. You understand what I'm saying? When you go to so and so house, you better not ask for nothing. You better not touch nothing. You understand what I'm saying? We had a protocol. Right now, there is no damn protocol. So if you're moving into a metaverse with no protocol, the question is, how reckless can it get? Because you might have somebody buying skins, in the metaverse, pretending to be BlakSmith, and he ain't nowhere around. What you talking about?
He might be locked away being cloned.
And get low. Facts. We gotta use history as a guide. We gotta use history as a guide in everything. In this month, for those of you who are watching, please learn a little bit more. Learn a little bit more. Start locally. Start with you. Start with your family. The school you went to. You'd be surprised when you study the high school you went to. What you find out.
And Sister Keisha,
nobody can tell me nothing about my city. But go ahead.
I think that's a great point because that's one thing I always want people to walk away with. As much as we talk about our story and culture and things like that, don't negate that you're a Black person. Draw from your own experiences. I always say your mother's your first teacher, but your experience is your best teacher. If you've been Black all your life and you know that there's something wrong, analyze your life, develop your story, become the next great person. Don't just keep looking back to the past for greatness when you was born to be great. All of that stuff exists within us. Sometimes some of us get it a little later than others, but long as you get it is the most important part, because too often we look for other people to do the very thing that we can do. And who knows, we may be born for it. We just have so much talent within us that we haven't tapped into. And that's what this system is put in place for, to keep you from knowing yourself. So get in tune with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Become your authentic self, the person you were born to be. You never know who you might grow up to be. Like me traveling to Africa and doing this program with Sister Keisha, Brother BlakSmith, and Brother Ashe, I would have never thought this 30 years ago. I never thought that I would be able to meet so many dignitaries and freedom fighters and teachers. I mean, I'm invited to be amongst some of the most prestigious people, just because I'm authentic in who I am. I don't make no bones about where I'm from. I'm proud to be from Brooklyn. I'm proud of my past, my personal past. But then culturally as a collective, I'm proud of us as a group and the things we have done, the things we have overcome, because we're a resilient group of people. So when we do study our story and when we do study our history, let's draw from that. Let's draw from no matter what the obstacles were, we were able to overcome and still move forward and be here today. I've been to the dungeons in Africa. I've been to Harriet Tubman's gravesite. I've been to Frederick Douglass' home. I've been to so many places, and I would have never thought it, me, just a young dude from Brooklyn, born of a teenage mother and a teenage father, impoverished family. We didn't have nothing. We used to stand on the cheese line like so many other families. But I had to tap into myself and able to share my personal experiences, not just what I read, but what I know to be true. My critique of this system and how it was built to hold me back, but I wouldn't allow it to. So what do? I teach this to young people coming behind me. And you can do the same. We all got a story. We don't have to look to nobody else. Just get in tune with yourself. Learn who you are. Learn who your grandparents are. Learn who their grandparents were. You'd be surprised at the things you uncover once you start digging into self. Stop looking for external stimuli to validate who you are. I always say the only thing I need validated is my parking. That's it. I don't need nobody to co-sign me and validate me. I'm enough in my own eyes.
There it is.
And you got to find that for yourself too, and that's what we should be developing as well. You know what I mean? So when I talk about a Black future, I want to see you in it. I want to see you tomorrow. I want to see you next year, because there's so many of our folks that didn't make it. There's so many, whether they fell victim to the jab, whether they fell victim to drugs, whether they fell victim to violence. So many things are in place to keep us from not seeing the future. I think that should be our goal, and not just to see it, but to flourish in it, you know? And I'm off my soapbox.
Got you on that, brother Tad. Right and exact. Look within yourself. Look within your community. See what you see. See what's are missing around you and how you can improve upon those things. Everything starts locally. Everything
Let me say
starts
this
with.
real quick. And like, I like to see when Sister Tosh Monique is here, because Sister Tosh Monique know me for years. Me, her brothers all came up. So she knows my background. She knows the things. We done cried at the same funerals. And I'm happy to see her here, because that's all we need. We need folks from our own community that know who we are, that know we're being our authentic self, know that we're not faking and being phony. You know, sometimes you're not who people think you should be, but that's all right. That's they bad, because you have to be who you have to be. You may have some exes, some siblings. Oh, he talking that, and he used to do this, and she used to do that, and don't listen to none of that, because people will always try to stop you from being great because they haven't tapped into their own. Because once they tap into their greatness, they can't help but want to see you be great. So surround yourself with people who really know who you are and support your growth and development. You know, that's what I wanted to say, Sister Keisha. I want to shout out my sister Tosh Monique. You know,
Facts, because the block don't know you, nobody know you. I always say that.
exactly. If your
Go
hood
back to
don't know
where
you,
you come from. You see, I rep it Fort Green Strong,
that's
100.
right.
You know, if your peoples don't know you, nobody know you. And I've always been one to get involved from a young age, going to elementary school, you know, joining the youth patrol, you know, keeping the crackheads out of the school. You know, I was always with it, 100. Sit tenant patrol in the project, for real, every night, in the cold, winter, summer, wherever. Always start where you at. Figure out what's missing around you and be that. Don't be a tyrant. I hate people who are tyrants. Remember,
Yeah.
brother Tad, when we first was with Straight Black Pride Black in back in the beginning. I don't want to mention his name, but brother was talking about some foolishness. Women gotta wear long
I was
skirts.
talking about him earlier today. I was telling the sister about him earlier today.
You in the mouth. You crazy?
I said, man, I don't know where you at, but I don't tell no black woman what to wear. I don't know
What?
I don't tell nobody.
Tell my husband he can't see these thick thighs in my midst. Don't play with me. Are you crazy?
Don't be
Brother
starting up
BlakSmith,
here,
he
Keisha.
was trying to be a tyrant. And he didn't respect the sisters either.
But the thing is, our brother straightened him right on out and moved to
Shout out to King Simon. Me and King Simon was like, yo, my man, this, you know, because he was an elder and you try to give people a little leeway, you know, we all learning. We all on this journey together. And nobody knows it all. We constantly learning and growing. But this brother, man, he just like, yeah, trying to talk about how sisters need to dress and she got to wear a skirt and she can't wear pants. And I'm like, like, all right, that's what you think.
But the funny thing about it, when I found out about it, here go Tad and Ashe, go, we got to tell you something. I'm like, here we go. Here we go with the BS.
Yeah.
And when they told me, it was like, we already handled it. We already,
Yeah.
I was like, don't let me say nothing to him because he going to get his little feelings hurt.
For
Real
real.
bad. You out your mind? Anyway.
Yeah.
So, do not become a tyrant. Just
So, right, no tyrants. No
be
tyrants.
who you are, and you'll be surprised the people you change around you. You know, some people, so many people, as Brother Tad said, excuse me, we've come in contact with who have totally did a 180 and changed their life around, even through this pandemic mess. Shout out to my baby sisters, Kim and Lisa. But you know, we text each other every day, and it was like, Keisha, you was always right. That's what I'm saying. You was always right. But I didn't have to be a tyrant with it. I'm never that way. I just live my life. It's not happenstance that the women in my family, they natural. With their hair and everything. You know, Tad know my sisters, he'll tell you. So I
That's
didn't tell
beautiful.
him, you better cut them perms out of your hair. And so just live my life. Just live my life. Period. And I hope that you all can understand that. So as you study, reach people where they at. Don't go above nobody's head, no matter what level you on. Sometimes I have to really think before I speak because I'm telling you, I think everything in legal and political terms. So I have to take a minute. Sometimes you might see me pause, like, what should I say? Because I'm trying to go back to the layman so that everybody can understand what I'm saying. Because if I spoke legalese, you probably look at me like I'm crazy.
You'd be
Like, what the
lost.
hell are you talking about? What the hell is you what? Meek's carrier brief? What are you talking about?
I have to watch some Law and Order to catch up.
You see what I'm saying? That's me, you and all that. I'm just saying. Reach people where you at. And shout out to Brother Peace. Brother Peace is always posting some real poignant information. I gotta give a shout out
Yes.
to him. And he just leave it there. He don't debate people back and forward. You take the information as you take it. Period. And you can't get mad because people don't want. You know what I hate, bro, Tad?
What's that?
Oh, such and such ain't come out. Such and such ain't come out. Because they don't feel like it.
Right.
They not there with you. They don't feel like it. You can't get mad. Either you move with the times or the time is going to run over you. And that's what
That's
I'm
it.
seeing that's happened with a lot of our community folks. I'm talking about the real grassroots folks. I'm seeing a lot of people get overrun by technology and they're trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that. But if
And
you had listened in the late 90s when we told you and stopped yelling at us, you could have been ahead of the game. But go ahead, brother.
yep. And sis, that's why it's so important that they have a young person up under them, under their tutelage, a young person that's equipped and adept to the times, But you got to be palatable. You got to, like you said, no tyrants. No, just grabbing a young person, say you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. You got to make them feel warm and welcome. You got to be their safe space that they want to be around you, and be like, hey, when social media, Facebook, and all that came out, that's what was commenting my joints. I was talking to the kids, hey, do this here for me. How you do this? How you do that? You know. But they love being around that, so it was no big deal. I had little Tad working out something on my laptop the other night. I said, son, come here. Show me. And he hooked me up. He showed me how to do it. It's like, because for them it's easy. But again, that's our village. We have to develop and create our village. Everybody's going to be skilled at something. Because just like I need him for technology, he needs me for life advice. He comes to me with questions like, yo, what you think I should do? And we have a conversation. And then he could make a decision based on that. It's a give and take. That's what relationships are. They're reciprocal. And that's the importance of the village. We right here, we're part of the village. Brother BlakSmith, Sister Keisha, Brother Ashe, our audience, Sister Farnessa, Sister Vera, definitely Brother Mike, Brother Ray, Brother Peace. Like, we are a village and we lean on each other because none of us know everything. Some of us are more skilled in other areas than others. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Still sharpen steel, and that's how we move forward. But we can't ostracize people for the things we know and they may not, because there's things that they may be proficient in that we ain't got no idea. They may be a whiz in something and we don't even know it because we don't take the time to get to know them, because we're trying to force feed our thoughts and ideas down their throat instead of, again, back to algebra, instead of finding the value in them. All right, maybe they don't know Black history. Maybe they can't quote Dr. Clark, but they're expert in something else. Maybe they could build a website in no time, put our message up there and blast it to 1 million people overnight because they're so technologically advanced. Maybe they don't even know who Frederick Douglass is, but they know how to hack some computers and be like, yo, what you need me to do? I'm not encouraging it. I'm just saying everybody has a skill of value.
Yes, sir.
And we just have to be mindful enough and not be so arrogant, because I see that a lot too within our community / village. Some of the elders don't want to pass the reign. They've been trying their way so long, and they think it's going to work one day, but it's so old. It don't work no more. But
Exactly. I always used to tell the kids in the family, I developed this character called Miss Minnie. And everybody loves Miss Minnie, all the little kids. If you 7 and younger in my family, you know about Miss Minnie. And they love it because it's relatable to them. As Tad says, I'm able to give life advice in an arena that's familiar to them. And they gravitate towards it. You have to be that way. You just have to. So when I look at some of us, as you said, Brother Tad, using antiquated means of reaching our people in a technological world, I don't have time for that. I will hit delete on my phone in a minute. I'm the queen of delete. Trust me on that. Drives my daughter crazy, but I will delete stuff in a minute. So before we close out, I had to rep the home team. It's Black History Month. These brothers built Black Wall Street in Fort Greene and Bed-Stuy. Myrtle Avenue, Waverly Avenue, Prince Street, Willoughby, Douglas, Claremont Ave. We had our own Black Wall Street.
Wow.
People talk about Weeksville, but nobody talks about Fort Greene. Nobody talks about that. What happened? Who were these men? What happened to their descendants? Did their descendants get everything that they left behind, or was it taken from them? This is why it's important to learn your local history. I will employ everybody. When it comes to this local history of New York, I don't see nobody above me. I don't. I'm telling you that. I can stand on that for real. Going back to Washington Square, finding out that used to be called Land of the Blacks, a town formed by Black people who was kicked out by the Dutch after their servitude was over, built their own town, built their own wealth. We built all of these towns and wealths throughout the United States and abroad, but they've been taken away from us because we didn't plan for the future in the way that we should. Oftentimes, we become comfortable in our progression in life. In my humble opinion, you should never be comfortable fighting in war. You should be at ease in the mind, because being at ease in mind helps you to become more strategic. But you should never be comfortable with your enemy encroaching upon you.
Yes, ma'am.
So everything that you learn in history, family, please use it as a blueprint for your progression, not just for you, but also for your family and for your community. And believe it or not, we can get where we need to be. I'm telling you. I see these young kids today, they got more bread than I got. They ain't playing about it for real. They ain't playing about it. But do it with an African-centered mind, so that you take your homeboys on the block with you, or your own girls you go to school with, or whatever, your cousins or whatever with you. Not just to make it for the self and isolate yourself in your advances, because like in the past, it will be taken from you. And free speech, nullification of free speech would be the catalyst of that.
Wow.
Trust me on that.
Wow.
Trust me on that. So, Brother BlakSmith, your final thoughts before we close out?
I want to ask you a quick question, Keisha, because I think you would know about this. Do you remember about maybe 5-6 years ago, there was a Black dude in the Bronx that was doing a lot of the history on the Bronx, and he disappeared, and then they found him in Bronx River? You remember that situation?
No, I don't.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about the brother when you was reminding me about Black Wall Street in downtown Brooklyn. But to finish this, I want to go off something you asked me to expound on as far as where do I see us in the near future. I see us going. Remember, I told you last year, I believe on the first time I came on your show, that there's going to be a solar flash that's going to knock us into the fifth dimension, and you're going to recall everything and be able to live long and blah, 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 all the things. I'm sure you've heard all these things before. We're going to be where we need to be because we know, we got the right information and we know how to actually apply it in our lives. So I would tell anybody out there listening to do same, love and respect your people, and just keep it on, because like a Puffy song. I thought I told you we don't stop. We're gonna keep right on going. As far as reaching me, my name is Flavius Jones on Facebook. I'm in jail right now, so if you friend me, I can't friend you back. Just send the invite and I'll approve it when I just put in the inbox if you want to friend me that you know me from the show. That way I don't have to figure out who you are if I don't already know you or have a friend with you. As far as my books, y'all know what it is. I don't know if Keisha gonna put it in the box, but I wrote 2 books. You can check my blog at www.goodchiba.blogspot.com. That's why I usually splash every other day. My last article is a lecture of Dr. Patricia Newton before she passed away. Because it was in 2020, she was addressing COVID and so on and so forth. Love and respect to the whole, Black family out there. Brother Ashe, I missed him today, but we'll see him next time. Brother Tad, Sister Keisha, I'll let you have it, or Brother Tad, whoever is next.
All right. Yeah, so, we had a dope bill today, as we talk about Black history and most importantly, focusing on the Black future. I think it's very important that we carry this message to our young people and not just beat them in the head with it, but help them develop themselves to be them best selves. That's the only way we're going to win. You ain't going to make it if you got to fake it. So hopefully you were inspired by something you heard tonight. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, and stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, it's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Before we close out, I'm putting my bid in. The next verse is Maxwell versus Anthony Hamilton. Who y'all got first?
I got Maxwell.
Anthony Hamilton is battling.
Oh, not Maxwell.
Music.
Yes, Music Soul Child. Sorry, Ted. Music Soul Child versus Anthony Hamilton. Who you got?
Who's it on? Me or Ted first?
All right.
So you
get it.
Music is my favorite, though. I already like Music Soul Child, so I'm a ride with him. But Anthony Hamilton is a tough opponent. What is it? The dude's 5 feet and under? That's the battle. Those are the only dudes I'm taller than. That's funny.
Oh, you got jokes today, huh?
Those are the only dudes I'm taller than.
That was a good one. I didn't know Anthony Hamilton was short like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I never seen him live.
He said she got Music Soul Child. All right.
I would say for me that's a tough one because judging Music Soul Child has more relatable music, but Hamilton just gets you in the mood. I gotta say, I gotta slide with Hamilton on this one.
I'm rolling with Anthony Hamilton.
Yeah.
I like Music Soul Child. I like Music Soul Child, but I don't know. Anthony Hamilton, I don't know. He's just that extra grown.
Yeah. Anthony Hamilton is a singer. Music is a crooner. Like
right.
Anthony gonna take you to church.
Cornfish, fish, and collard greens. I love that song.
Well, shout out to both of them brothers.
Him and Jill Scott should do a concert together.
Who? Anthony Hamilton and Jill Scott?
I think they have. I think they may have.
I didn't see that one, man.
Oh, okay. Me either, but I think I may have heard something like that.
Okay, I know I saw Anthony Hamilton and what's her name? Angie Stone.
Years ago, that's when Anthony Hamilton first came out. Yeah, I'm sure.
And I saw Jill a whole bunch of times. I saw Jill so many times I can't even remember.
Yeah.
I saw Music a few times. Mm-hmm. But shout out to all of them,
Definitely. Black music is black music, and we better hone in and control that for real.
Yes, ma'am.
Take it out of the hands of these hats and everybody and what is it, Japan? Take it out of their hands.
Oh, Keisha, real quick, I forgot to say this real quick. Quick. Wakanda 2 is coming out on guess what date of all dates in the world?
February 30th.
11/11. This guy got. Hey, Keisha, what are you doing today over there?
I'm not saying nothing. You listen. I'm not even gonna blow Brother Tad up, but y'all should have seen him trying to log in earlier.
What are you drinking over there?
I'm gonna leave it at it.
You can sit while I'm asking what you doing though.
I'm not even saying nothing. I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Thank y'all. I'm cutting up. I'm cheesing over here.
I said, yo, I'm a FaceTime, yo. Sister Keisha, just like you, I've been up,
like,
I've been up late.
All right, here we go.
So I haven't been getting no sleep either. So yeah, that's why I'm going on vacation again.
Okay.
Oh man, that was funny.
She said,
BlakSmith, I FaceTime her. She said, bro, you're on the wrong site.
Ooh. Hey Tad, how's your show with your homeboy?
Say it again.
How's your show with your homeboy?
Oh man, we ready to launch. And see, that was the thing. Somebody asked earlier what happened with Doggy Diamonds real quick. Before we get out. We supposed to be getting out of here. But we was gonna launch today because we constantly recording, so we got a nice little arsenal build up.
Right.
But what happened was his page got hacked.
Oh damn.
His page got hacked by some Russians and they start trying to sell crypto on his YouTube account. So they just shut the whole thing down. So that became a hassle. He had a lot of videos and stuff. So a lot of that is lost. But we spoke earlier, he's eager to rebuild, he's good with it. I mean, it's messed up, but these things happen. So, equip you for next time.
Technological world.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I get a IT company popping, I want these contracts ASAP.
That's a fact.
IT is in need, big time. Trust me on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Brother Tad could have used you earlier. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But again, family, we thank you for tuning in with us every week as we do right here on the Brooklyn Bridge. Go ahead, Brother Black.
One more thing. Thank y'all for representing the Bronx tonight. I had Brooklyn all night. Y'all didn't even mention it.
Here we go. Here we go. Now, see, now you're getting silence. Mute. He's on mute. That's it. Don't come over here on the Brooklyn Bridge talking that Bronx stuff. One day I gotta do a show just on how the Bronx came to be. And y'all gonna be like, that's why everybody's crazy as hell over there. You would know. I'm telling you, when it comes to the history of the city, I'll put it up against anybody. But anyway, again, we thank you all for tuning in and joining us every week right here on the Brooklyn Bridge. Again, we'll be back next week with more Black History facts. We're going to do it all month. We're going to do it all month. We're going to get you on the right page for real. But we out. I'm tired. The husband's calling me. I got to go. Good night, y'all. Have a good one. We out.